Hello, this is Susan of the North, aka Susan Hintz-Epstein, with the rune reading for the week of June 7th through June 13th. It's been a full week already with the crazy things going on in our country, especially politically. The rune I drew for Sunday, the 7th of July, is Ior, the river serpent. The river serpent, this symbol is also the symbol, the seed symbol for Hagalaz in other Futharks. As the river serpent, it speaks to the river of, well, I have several things on my mind when I'm talking about this. There's the atmospheric river that encircles the world as Jormungand in the Norse mythology encircles the world. And he has all the connotations of serpents in every mythology. You know, on the one hand, he is a son of Loki by the Witch of the Ironwood, Angrboda. And so maybe he has a bad rap because of that. But he's also, I love the serpent image because it's regenerative. And like the regeneration of the serpent, Hagalaz is a rune of sudden change that leads to new beginnings, new understandings, new undertakings. It might be change that is so severe and so sudden that it shakes up your life for a while. But once things settle out and you've found your way through the difficulties it presents, you are on a new road, perhaps to a better self. The river serpent also, with its connotations with water, also speaks to movement, the emotions. The emotions are always moving. They're like water. Sometimes they're frozen. Sometimes they're liquid. Sometimes they rise up like rain to fall down in a new valley, in a new river. You never know what's going to go on. So this rune breaks down essentially to being all about transformation, change. It may mean healing. It may mean that you have to develop a new skin or a tougher skin or shedding your skin to make way for a new you to emerge. This is all the power of this rune of Ior. This is for Sunday, July 7th. For Monday, July 8th, I have drawn the rune on Suj, and it is reversed. On Suj, original meaning is the gods. It can mean creativity. It can mean things that you haven't given voice to. It can also mean, in more mundane terms, legal contracts, legal difficulties, getting bad advice. Double check everything before you sign a contract, for example. Seek the advice of a good lawyer. If you've got a bad lawyer, find a better one. All of these things play into this rune. That is for Monday, July 8th. On Tuesday, July 9th, I've drawn the rune Gabo. Things are looking up from whatever was besetting us on Monday. On Tuesday, there is a reciprocal giving and receiving of energy. You might find a new partnership. You might find yourself moving into a better position at work. You might find yourself in a better relationship with the divine, which within each of us, it's always a contrast between our higher nature and our lower nature. That is, especially if we're working on ourselves. Some people it doesn't affect that way at all because they're not interested in working on themselves. But for those of us who want to become better people, more spiritual, more devoted, more in alignment with the life force itself, this is a wonderful rune to receive, to know that you are in alignment with the divine. Trust everything's going to work out fine. You will receive exactly what you need to get there. and you may be asked to give something of yourself on the way, but it is always going to be something that you enjoy giving. For Wednesday, July 10th, we have drawn the rune Hagalaz. Now, I spoke about the connotations of the seed crystal Hagalaz, which is also the way of drawing the symbol that is mirrored in Iwer. Hagalaz, again, is a rune of change. It's a rune of liberation, of freedom from constraint. But sometimes we have to go through a struggle with it within ourselves, between our higher and our lower nature, before we can achieve that liberation. This is about doing the preparatory work. This is about accepting what is, maybe even a radical acceptance of what is, so that we can move through it and understand it and become free from our baggage. All of us have baggage. Most of us have some kind of trauma. Most of us have some kind of trauma response. Whatever that is for you, if you are willing to move through it, your willingness will make the job go faster. For Thursday, the 11th of July, we have the rune I'm not always sure how to pronounce this. I'm not a native Norse or Scandinavian speaker. It's spelled YR, and the Y sometimes sounds like Yar, so I just go year. But this is the rune of the archer. And it's interesting because the original rune that this came from, if you take this little shape out, you have the rune Uruz, which is the aurochs, strength, muscularity, good health. When it becomes the archer, it's time to take aim. It's time to focus. It's time to find your ground. It's time to find your target, your aim, your goal. This is also called rune of the artist because, like an archer, an artist is absolutely focused on what they're doing, absolutely focused on their creative project. So it's time to take a focus. It's up to you to discern what that is for you. For Friday, the 12th of July, we're still talking June here. For the 12th of July, we've drawn Berkano or Berkta. This is the rune of the feminine. This is the shining one. This is the ancient goddess, the birch tree, that provided fire, illumination. And if you know anything about birch trees, the inner bark can be used as flour. It can be eaten, and it has other herbal properties. I'm not altogether familiar on what those are, but it is just a bright, shining tree, white in the forest, very beautiful. This rune I often associate with initiation. You know, there's many changes in a woman's life, from birth to giving birth to coming of age to the onset of menses, which is not always comfortable, but it's not something men have to go through. And it takes us into a realm of understanding of things through the flow of our own blood, the flow of our own emotion, the opportunity to sit with that once a month and to understand who we are in relation to everything that's going on in our lives. So there's a lot to think about here. There's aging and there's dying. All of this is part of the cycle of initiation of life. And death itself is a sacred thing. Birth is a sacred thing. All of these moments in our life can be regarded as liminal moments that can be given ceremony to celebrate, to understand. Marriage is another one that falls into this purview. I leave you with that thought for Friday, July 12th. And the final rune of Saturday, July 13th. Oh, we have Os. In the Anglo-Saxon Futhark, Os took the place of Ansuj. Os is the river mouth. It is where the river empties into the ocean. And if you think about the rain that rises and falls and how water travels, we talked about this on Sunday's room with Iowa, and water travels, and it's like emotion, and it gives rise to our creativity. What we give voice to is very creative. This rune is also associated with the god Odin, and And is the process of creative inspiration. And sometimes it can come upon us so wildly. We had this week so far, we've had talk of Ior and all of the influences there, sudden change, giving, and focus with the rune ear. And it is just coming back to Os. What is this week culminated in your giving voice to? What is it that you are creating that is new in your life? This is an amazing rune. Okay, this is Susan of the North, also known as Susan Hintz-Epstein, with the rune reading for July 7th through July 13th. I've been a little stumbly tongued. It's been a long day. It's very hot, and I've managed to get my garden in today, so I've been doing good. Have a blessed week.